It was very clearly articulated by Chief of Defence Staff that insurgency has nothing to do with violence in Manipur that has claimed approximately 100 lives, and he also said that it's primarily a clash between two ethnic groups. It's a law and order problem, and that we are helping the state government grapple with. But the problem is that, a day before, the Chief Minister of Assam, Biren Singh, said that, that it's a work of an insurgent groups and, all those groups who are part of the Sioux agreement between the tripartite agreement and all are the ones who are behind this, and these are terrorists. Now, there's a world of difference between what the CDS said and what the Chief Minister said, a day before. How do you look at this entire situation?
It's a very complex situation, firstly. Secondly, what the CDS has stated, I also being from the armed forces and having served in that area, and I know General Chauhan extremely well. I totally agree with his statement. It is definitely not a counter-insurgency problem. It is only a law and order problem which has been generated. Yes, ethnicity problems have been there. There is no doubt on that. That has been fostering since many years. But now there was a spark, and therefore that happened. So it is on ground. It is not definitely a counter-insurgency problem. Counter-insurgency problem, if it was there, it would have continued. I mentioned to you my first career posting in the Indian Army started way back when I was posted in Ukhrul. That
Ji.
is the northeast area of from the valley, Manipur, Imphal Valley. So I had full 1 year there, and I recollect everything that time was not too conducive. The militancy was at its peak. NSCN, IM, those groups were very active. I told you yesterday, one of the army convoys were ambushed where we lost 21 people killed on the road to Ukrul. But since then, things have changed and things have improved. But yes, the ethnicity divide continues, and that is today quite common. People have problems with various ethnicities. That is happening in all parts of the world. You see at Kosovo, anywhere, any part of the world. Only issue is how we can resolve it. And yesterday I mentioned to you I was in Rwanda, where we witnessed 1.5 million people genocide. It was the most horrific genocide, where the aim of the Hutus were to wipe out the Tutsis completely. That was their aim. They even did not spare pregnant women. We have seen that genocide. But yet, certain of the Tutsis who were supported, they managed to come back, and then they, in the bargain, also killed some of the Hutus. And there were some Hutus who were moderates. I'm quite sure they are moderates in both sides, who were also killed by their respective communities because they had a moderate stance. But the same country today, the Hutus and Tutsis problem has been resolved. So this problem has to be resolved, and that is what we should now focus on. What has happened has happened. It is very sad. It has happened. Uh, I yesterday also mentioned Manipur is burning. It is sad for India. It does not augur well when we are going to host the SCO summit in the first week of July. We are going to host the G20 in September. We are chairing it. So it does not augur well for India's image. And today, with a very transparent system, even if we can hide everything, internet is there, so many ways are there, clippings are there, everything is today exposed to the world. So therefore, we need to now focus on the solution, because that is what should be the paramount importance for everyone in the system. And that is what I would request you also. Probably we could now take the discussion in that direction. It is, of course, up to you, you being the anchor.
When you read, listen to the statement which has been made by Chief of Defence Staff, and when you listen to the statement which has been made by Manipur, what do you make of those two statements?
Yeah, I think it's a welcome kind of statements, but definitely as I have reiterated several times, there has to be kind of political intervention to peacefully resolve this issue. And in many academic writings in the past one decade, I have been saying that in deeply divided societies like Manipur, the management of diversity and diverse aspirations is very important. And this management of diversity and diverse aspirations is the holy cow of statecraft. So I think in the last 6 years, this has not been taken seriously, and many of the aspirations, both from both sides, have been, not managed properly, and this is the outcome of what we have been talking about. Academicians talk about, how this diversity has to be managed. The aspirations which could go out of spiral has to be managed properly, and that's the statecraft, right? That is the point of being a head of government. So Biren has uh, the responsibility of handling all these aspirations, but instead of that, for the past 1 year especially, after winning, the majority in the state assembly, he has become arrogant. He don't take any advice. We have been a part of this war against drugs, and many others. We have been a part of it in trying to suggest to friends and people who are close to the current regime in Manipur, and he has not been taking any of these advices, and finally it leads to this, and we are very sorry that we could have lived peacefully. The Kukis are one of the communities who has supported the Maharajas of Manipur, as P. Kim Gangte has stated and given the historical reference. And in many instances, we have been also the vanguard, or the community who has been guarding the Imphal Valley for so long, the way of settlement of the Kuki people in around Imphal. These are the pointers that, the Meiteis and Kukis were living side by side. But the kind of, violence, the kind of hatred that has been spread in the last few years, there's something that, people can't take anymore. And the mistrust that has been building up after this violence, it will take a long time to build up again. And it's a very sad story, and almost similar to the Hutus and Tutsis in Africa. So but I feel in this situation, the central government has a very key role to play to bring, semblance of, normalcy in this, by trying to solve politically. And I think before leaving for Delhi again, here in the, uh, this state, there has to be a kind of assurance that, all those arms looted from the police, the paramilitary and other forces has to be once again taken back, and people has to be disarmed so that they become citizens again, instead of being a radical militant people. So that is very essential. And when we always talk about Rambai Tengol or Meitei Lipun or any radical groups, there is a kind of, disinterest by the majority community. This something we have to engage with this problem currently, so that the other group, especially the Kukis, would have some semblance of security in the villages. And I have heard about Oza Sapamji that the Kukis should stop shooting villages. That's fine, but what about the, the other kind of heavy artillery, heavy mortars that has been shelled from Kakching side to Truzanpur side, in this Shugnu, and Truzanpur side? What about the heavily selling from Sagolmang side, this hilltops to my villages in Saikul area? This 2-inch mortar has been draining into those villages. How can people feel secure with those 2-inch mortar fired, now and then? Who are they? Are they commandos? Are they police? Or who are they? That has to be found out. Unless such situations are controlled, such situations in reality are assessed, people will not stop being, you know, staying as a normal situation. So we have to secure the people. We have to, assure the people that normalcy has returned. Only then we can move ahead. Otherwise, with all these arms build up, with all this kind of, hatred filled in this state, I think there's no way that we move ahead towards normalcy.
Professor, I've been told that you want to respond to what Major General Sanjay Meston has said. You want to respond to him?
Yes. See, you asked Dr. Howkip something and he started answering something else. Let's come to the point. I'm little surprised that when the Home Minister, Union Home Minister is there in Manipur, and before him, Chief of the Army Staff, General Pandey is already there, and Nityananda ji, who is the
MOS home.
Minister of State, MOS, is already there, and the talks are going on. And Amit Shah ji is listening to different stakeholders, CSOs, the ministers, MLAs. Suddenly, from nowhere, Chief of Defense Staffs makes a statement. So I do not know what this whole ploy is. Is this interview given by General Chauhan a way, a tactics to shift the gear or the direction of the talk that is being going on at the moment? It is very unfortunate. I think as an army chief, he should have been more responsible and wait for the outcome. And suddenly, when the minister, which is the representative head, is engaging with the people, suddenly the CDS starts making a statement. Are you aware? Now, just reducing everything else into an ethnic conflict is very unfortunate matter. This cannot be accepted by any sensible person who is keeping track of what is happening. Now, former chief of the intelligence, military intelligence, Lieutenant General L.N. Singh has already tweeted out and even sent to the Prime Minister office that around 300 to 400 Kuki Chin militants, Myanmaris, have already crossed over the border in the last few days. And let me also tell you now, I'm just reading out this. Please give me a half a second.
Please, sir.
This is that I will tell you exactly the name of the village in which this PDF, as you know, these are People's Democratic Front, which have taken up arms against the military junta, and they are being chased out by the Myanmarese government, have sneaked in a large number to Indian territory, and around 70 of them, I will tell you this village, which is called Howland 5 village, which is around 3 kilometers from More, and they are being trained by KNA. Military arms training are given by KNA, and in the clear knowledge of Assam Rifles. Now, Assam Rifles cannot say that they are not aware of it and just pass the buck onto the ethnic cleansing or ethnic fight between the Kukis and Meiteis. If you look at 27 May night, as I told you, and 28 the whole day, right from the beginning of the morning, when the Prime Minister was inaugurating the parliament, new parliament building, and this fight was going on, and who are these people who were coming down to the valley and burning the houses of the poor Meitei villagers? These were armed cadres of the PADF in all probability. And if you don't want to call them as Sioux, then there are non-Sioux military or militants. One has to accept. It is not ordinary Kuki citizens. It is not ordinary Kuki villagers who attack the Meiteis. These are armed terrorists with M16, AK-47, AK-56, and these are well recorded. And Assam Rifles, in many places, it has been charged by the villagers that they came down together with these insurgent groups and they were party to the burning of the villages. And this makes me
Mr.
down.
Professor
I'm making a
Bhagat.
big challenge. No, you have to make me speak. You
Please,
have to make me
please.
speak.
I'm not stopping you. I just want to know about the gravity of the allegation which you are making. You are saying that Assam
Because-
Rifles are along with the group
Yes,
that was involved in
along
the
with
burning of
Assam
villages.
Rifles, they came. This is in the Sero areas. The Assam Rifles came down along with these terrorist groups, and even the doors were bolted, and people died inside, burned alive. And
Mr.
these
Bhagat, you are
people-
making too big an allegation. Have you reported this or whatever you have to the concerned
This is already
authorities?
in the media. This is already in the media. I have listened to it. So Assam Rifles should have refuted. So I am just wondering that how come Assam CDS suddenly gives a statement when Union Home Minister is already listening to the people of the state across ethnicity. What was the need of the CTS to come out and give an interview?
No, no, CDS was not giving an interview, Professor. I would like to put this clear. He was speaking at the passing out parade of the 144th course of the Indian Khadakwasla near Pune. And he responded because, Manipur right now occupies a center stage, and any journalist worth his salt would definitely want to know from the CDS, what exactly is the situation and what's his take on it. I guess, with Assam Rifles and others, he has a bigger understanding of what the situation is. Please.
But when such an issue is such a delicate matter, and when the elected representative from Lok Sabha are there, I think army should not have come up and spoken a word on this. Number two, and this is a fact, that now Mr. Kuldeep Singh, an IPS officer retired, who is the security advisor to the government of Manipur, he proposed that all the paramilitary forces, including Assam Rifles, should have Manipur police attached. Manipur police should not go scot-free on its own, but Manipur police should be put with BSF, with CRPF, with Assam Rifles, so that there is a balanced combing operation if needed. But it was squarely denied, refused, scuttled by Assam Rifles, and Assam Rifles said that their job, they will do it in the hills, maintain peace. The valley should be looked after by other forces. That is the state forces and others. Now, what happened on the 27th night and 28th is that arms conflict did not happen in the hills, but the armed militants, or what you call terrorists, came down from the hills. And with the knowledge of the Assam Rifles cannot say that we are not aware of the movement of these armed groups and coming down to the valley and burning down the villages. Where were the Assam Rifles there? That is the question I want to ask. If Assam Army Chief has to say, CDS has to say that it is an inter-ethnic crisis, it's inter-ethnic rivalry. Who were the people burning with arms in their hand? They were not Kuki villagers. They were not Kuki citizens. They were militant groups, and they may be Kuki, they may be Chins, but there are forces coming from outside Myanmar. And this we have to investigate and look into it.
How do you respond to these allegations which is just leveled?
See, firstly, what allegations is put, I really have no comments. Reason being, he may be better informed about the live situation there because he belongs to that place, and obviously he would be getting many inputs. That is point one. But coming on to the role of the PDF, yes, that possibility exists. And yesterday also I mentioned that the entire situation presently suits the Chinese people, China PLA, and they would be active in Myanmar, and they would be funding militants, training them and sending them. So the PDF could be a reality, what he's telling, but they being linked with the Assam Rifles, I have my reservations because Assam Rifles also constitutes people from the local areas, most of them. Some of them are Metis, some of them are Kukis. So would that be a possibility? I am not too sure because the armed forces probably would not like to get entangled in this kind of a thing where they support external terrorists. After all, the basic role of the armed forces is not to...
Professor, just let him finish first. Please let him finish, and I'll give you the mic. You will respond to what General Meston is saying. Please complete, sir.
So what he's stating, external support from Myanmar may be there. I have no doubts. Yesterday also I stated that China would be doing this because some flash has occurred, some problem has occurred, and the external states would definitely take advantage to the extent ISI and of course Chinese PLA, they would be doing the indoctrination, training these people, sending them from Myanmar. And now whether they are depicted as Kukis or whether they are depicted as Metis, that only God knows. But yes, definitely Assam Rifles being allied with them, I have my reservations because I have also grown up in the army. And I have never seen this type that army is supporting any militant organization of any militant organization, whether it is Jammu Kashmir, whether it is Northeast. We have not done that. So I beg to differ on that point. But yes, what he is talking about PDF may be a reality because after all, they are coming from abroad, from Myanmar, which he has stated. And probably he would be well informed, and which could be a reality. I'm not denying that. But the role of Assam Rifles, I would say definitely. I think that is not a reality because, again, in case he can state, the composition of Assam Rifles has Metis and Cookies. And I know that officers are there, both who are cookies and metis. Until unless it has now happened that only officer of one ethnicity is there, I'm not aware because I have retired almost 4.5 years back. But that again, I take it with a pinch of salt that only one particular ethnicity would be composing the Assam Rifles. So that I think I leave it to that.
Professor Bhagat, you
Yeah,
wanted to
yeah,
respond to.
I agree in many things that Major General has said, Sanjay ji has said. One thing we have to be very clear that Assam Rifles is not part of the military army. So counter-insurgency work, the fight, cannot be done by the army when you do not have Armed Forces Special Power Act, number one. And number two, in principle, armies are trained to fight the enemies outside, external invasion. So using army for internal crisis certainly is not a very good political move. So Assam Rifles was created and made to do this counter-insurgency operation work. They are not military training per se as an army. And they are composed of, as Major General has said, people from Kuki, Meitei, Assamese, Nepalese. They are mixed bag of different local communities of Northeast, but they are all headed by an army officer. But how much disciplined they are, I have my doubts. They cannot be as disciplined as the military because military has also come, Jat regiment has come, and the information is they have balanced act. When army comes, there is a balanced act. When Assam Rifle comes, maybe because of the ethnic compositions that plays a role, local politics that plays a role. I do not know what could be the reason. Another is, sir, I mean, I don't know whether you will agree with me, that in the last 15 to 20 years, Assam Rifles have succeeded in chasing out valley-based military armed groups, also Nagas. Nagas have gone to the table, but prior to that, Assam Rifles have very successfully controlled the military, movement that was building up in this region. But that activities of how this has been curtailed has been very dubious activities. And I just keep that on that. I'm not commenting on that. But in the 10 to 15 years, sir, the way Assam Rifles have joined hands and used the Kuki militants to drive out UNLF, PLA, even many of the valley-based military outfits from Manipur to Myanmar, Kukis have had Kuki militants, KNA, ZRA has been very close to the Assam Rifles. And it is very obvious, naturally, they had been an ally to counter-insurgency. Now, I see, sir, that Assam Rifles' help that they give to the Kuki militants for counter-insurgency, they may at one point become a jinx. I will give you an analogy of Bhindrewale. How Bhindrewale was used by Congress politics to counter the Akali politics in Punjab, caused very dear to the entire nations, even to the massacre, assassination of a prime minister. I am afraid that Kuki militants, when they had been used in the counter-insurgency program, they have today, because of their association in drug trafficking, coffee cultivation, has gathered huge amount of money, arms and ammunitions, and time may come that they even may go against the dictate of the Assam Rifles. And that is most likely it may happen. I'm making a charge and I'm also foreseeing a possibility.
General Meston, would you like to respond to that, sir?
I heard him. Firstly, he is right. Assam Rifles is basically officered by the Indian Army officers, and presently the IGAR, he was under me actually. When I was commanding my division in Firozpur, he was my Colonel GS, and he's a very brilliant officer and very morally upright. So one odd free case can happen, one odd
Absolutely.
some lower JCO or Subedar or someone. But I again would say that since it is manned by the Indian Army officers. That is a saving grace. That the army, he himself stated that we are a organization which is neutral, and most of the people, they feel very comfortable with the army around, no doubts. Assam Rifles also, I have interacted there. I know so many of my friends who are from Kumaon Regiment or Artillery Regiment who have been commanding officers of the Assam Rifle, and they always praise the functioning of the Assam Rifles. See, one odd bad element cannot be ruled out in any organization, including in the Indian Army. Sometimes it happens. And those actions are taken. I would remind the gentleman sitting across that when I was in the Military Operations Directorate, I was looking after Northeast and China as a brigadier. And I recollect there was a colonel of Assam Rifles. Probably he was doing something wrong, and he was arrested and action taken as per the law. I think he was court-martialed. So he was in Assam Rifles on deputation, and all these officers who go, they are on deputation. They are not permanently deployed there, but the troops who are there, they are permanently. So that is another good thing, that when the new officers keep coming, it is not that 20 officers will at one go leave and suddenly new 20. It's a chain which continues. Today X will leave, tomorrow Y will leave, new chap will come. So therefore, officers also, even if one bad element is there, there are at least 20 other officers who will be good. So they will not allow. And let me tell you, an officer is always under scrutiny. Every action of his is seen by the Jawans. And it's not only from Northeast that Assam Rifles is there. I know people are there even from Garhwal, from Kumaon, all these places, and they are fairly good troops. In fact, they are so good that their families are allowed. And sometimes I've seen, in fact, I was speaking to the journal yesterday. They have rescued so many people from both the communities, and I think about 45,000 odd, and they have taken them to the camps irrespective of their ethnicity. So, Army oblique Assam Rifle, since it is officered by the Army, we generally don't take sides. One odd bad element cannot be ruled out in any system, but overall, the organizations are effective. Yes, I would now like to say that probably the people of that state have lost trust in the local police, the Manipur Rifles. This is where the problem is arising, because they are there on ground 24 by 7. Assam Rifles, they are not deployed within city, the valley or this thing. They are quite far from the villages. But here the police is operating 24 by 7. So their role is questionable. The political dispensation there and the local administration in terms of the police, because police has a major role, their role is questionable. Yes, what he is saying, I definitely may tend to agree with the role of the police, because they have definitely loyalties to their political masters than to the people. And this is where I think that probably is a major issue which needs to be addressed, because uh, army cannot be brought in again and again for sorting out this. We have our interest in the northern borders.
Absolutely, sir.
But some kind of a major decision has to be taken